I crashed on a pace lap, Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, summer of 1990. Christ, the race hadn't even started yet, and I'm already in the guardrail. Race car drivers never talk about their wins, we talk about our crashes. One time I was coming down the hill into turn 5 at Road America and carried too much speed into the corner and slid off the track, flipped over, upside down into a ditch. It had rained the night before, it was full of water, and the roll bar started sinking in the mud, and the water was rising in the helmet. Now I can hear the safety car. God, this was awful. I don't even have to read the page. This is a true story. The water's rising in my helmet as I'm upside down. I'm held in by a 6-point safety harness, and I'm breathing very fast, which is very loud in a helmet. I'm nervous, and I'm going, oh, I'm okay, am I okay? I'm all right. And then my head splashes the water. I feel, I'm like, am I bleeding? I was like, oh no, I'm sinking. I survived this crash, and I'm going to drown. The safety car guys got there right away and flipped me over, and I was okay. I loved my race car. It was beautiful. A Formula Ford single-seat, open-wheel, entry-level race car. My brief career as a race car driver was backwards. I was very fast, very early, and never got better, which figures race car spelled backwards is race car. I knew it was over the day I crashed on the pace lap. 2 weeks at Kropalo, an ashram in the Berkshire Hills of Massachusetts, was all it took for the edge on my racing skills to have eroded. Your footwork is the first thing to go. Heel and toe, double clutch downshifting, through turns while braking is how you shift an on-synchro mesh racing transmission. Nothing has changed in a Hewland racing gearbox in 50 years. The race car feels heavy right out of the pits. The suspension won't load. The power just slams on uncontrollably. I'm driving through 12 turns at 100 miles per hour, just terrified and wondering what the fuck I came back here for. I hate this. It's so disorienting bringing a car up to speed. I push the pedals, and then the car starts to come to life, and me with him. I breathe into its rising speed and power, and I listen for the motor to instruct me, and I extend sensitivity out into the wheels, and I smile at our braking skills the car and I have together. Deep into corners. I have some heat in the motor now. The tires are starting to grip, and the skill set of physics and mass and motion start to work through my hands. I lost my pace place too, Britain. It happened to me too. Through my hands. I set up a corner. Turn in, apex, and track out, and I kind of fuck it up. That was turn 5. I turned in too early, and the car slides 2 wheels into the grass, exiting the turn. I have to lift off the power and drive it back onto the track. How is it over here? You're right, Tomas, you gotta read it.
There is a little light, so if I can help, and there's like a small light.
Thanks. Yeah, roll on in.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Todd, you know how to do it?
Oh, it's just behind the actual light. There's a little thing that you can flip out.
Let's see here.
Hi, Todd.
You want to show us?
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Pit stop.
Pit stop.
You get thrown into the pits, and it's like... Okay, so quick side story, since I'm at pits. So... Oh, Todd, wow, thank you. Okay, so quick side story. So our mechanic, his name was Jeff Geddes, and he had this impressive, God, I haven't thought of this part of the story in a long time. So he had this huge box of rolling tools, like you see on NASCAR, you know, these big red boxes of tools. Hi, Stephen Gray. And it, you know, was very technical, and you know, but then when I would race, he'd close up the whole box, and he'd put a roll of duct tape and a ball peen hammer on the top. And I said, the first race that I was, oh, Jeff, what's the deal with that? And he was like, Formula Ford races are only 20 minutes. If I can't fix it with these, you're out. Okay, so we're back to turn 6 that I kind of fucked up. The car slides 2 wheels into the grass, exiting the turn. I have to lift off the power and drive it back onto the track. I set up the next corner, turn 5. then 6. Turn 7, I get right and I come out hot. I come up fast. There's a car in the straight right out in front of me, and suddenly the car is working, and who I am as a race car driver comes to life, and I want to run that motherfucker down. I was terribly lonely as a gay man racing cars. Amateur auto racing is a straight male, hard-drinking, life on the road, hot pavement in garages, one-dimensional shithead sport. On the occasional day off, we go to the track because we don't know what else to do, and most racetracks are located in the middle of nowhere with not much to do. There's a gun shop, a church, and a titty bar all together in one parking lot just outside the racetrack at Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas. After work, I go with the mechanics to the titty bar and get chatting with the female dancers. "What do you do?" this one dancer asked me. "I'm the zoning commissioner for the city of Topeka." I inform her. I start chuckling because I think that's funny, being responsible, the guy responsible for putting the titty bar, the gun shop, and the church all in one place. And she didn't quite get my meaning and thought I was making fun of her, which I wasn't. So I told her I was gay and not trying to come on to her, just trying to make conversation. But that made her more angry. I was still trying to explain myself to her and the bouncer she signaled when he picked me up and threw me out the front door. So, just when I couldn't be any lonelier as a gay man racing cars, I've been thrown out of a titty bar for harassing a female dancer in Topeka, Kansas. I had one close friend in the racing world, Steve. As you pass Steve in a race, he would turn his head and look at you for like 2 seconds. At 150 miles an hour, that's 440 feet. He had this yellow helmet with a black visor that you could see turn and look at you out of your peripheral vision, like Darth fucking Vader at 150 miles per hour for 440 feet. My eyes are forward, but my attention is really over here on Steve, which is dangerous at 150 miles an hour, thinking, how long is he going to look at me? That's racing, and that's dangerous, and man, that's beautiful. I love that. I was on the outside pole, my only pole position with Elton Julian on the inside pole. We came around the last turn for the green flag to start the race. He went to power early, I went with him, but the field didn't follow. So the flagman waved us off to come around again. I went into turn 1 wide to give Elton room. We were only doing 60 miles an hour, which feels like walking. There was gravel on the pavement out wide. That was like driving on marbles. I turned the wheel. Nothing. I hit the brakes. Nothing. I went off the track into the guardrail, tore the nose off the car. I've won 2 races. I'm kind of proud of that, but nobody cares. I'm the guy that crashed on a pace lap. That's all. It's nice to be known for something. My first win, I was shaking so hard, my body so exhausted from the adrenaline, I couldn't get out of the car. It took 4 mechanics, 2 on each side, to lift me out. My legs had turned to jelly. I couldn't walk. I was carried back to the team motorhome. It was turn 6, Sebring, Florida, when I first became fast. You turn in with your brakes on, deep into corners at speed, and let the rear end break loose, oversteer, and with really sensitive braking skills, you keep the tires rotating just above lockup so you still have control. You turn into the slide and catch it by adding power through the turn. This loads the rear wheels and keeps control while you're sliding sideways at 80 to 100 miles per hour through turns. This requires enormous sensitivity in your body. And with my car, my hands froze the first time it happened. I was stunned when the car broke loose this deep and this fast into a turn, but somehow my foot, it squeezed on the power and the rear wheels gripped, and I came out of 6 so fucking fast The centrifugal force drifted my car 4 inches from the wall exiting the turn. You can't move your hands on the wheel. You can't lift off the brakes or you'll spin. You have to wait as the wall comes up at 150 miles an hour and hope you've hit your turn in an apex correctly. This is it. You slide cars through turns on power, inches from a wall at speeds enough to die if you make a mistake. Now if you can do this, you will be rich and famous, and all you have to do is manage your fear. Turn too early. Back on pit lane, Steve walked by me and said, "If you give up control of your car, you deserve to die," and just kept walking. This wasn't an unkind thing to say. It's a very common thing to confront in racing about living and dying. I was off the track all the time. I always made mistakes. In a Formula Ford, it's not that fast in racing. But now that I was fast, you can't make a mistake at speed, or you're going to die. This is not a video game. People don't understand how difficult it is to do this, how terrifying it is to do this, how beautiful it is, how great it feels, how calm and quiet it is, and how awful it is when it goes wrong. How loud crashing is, how it feels to watch your spirit pull out of your body when it feels like that impact was just too much, and feel yourself whisper inside, "I don't know, I don't want to go, I don't want to go," and you fight your spirit back into your body. It's like swimming. You swim down into your body in the car and try not to die. I was not good at stillness after a race. I'm supposed to stop, get out of the car, and return to being a normal human being, and I'm just not good at that. I'm extended the mythological status as race car driver. But it's in a world that doesn't like me because I'm gay or different. A world that I don't understand, where I don't fit in, and that I don't like. I don't like it here. Icarus flew. End of story, God damn it. Icarus flew. Don't you people get that? That's the fucking point of this goddamn piece of Greek mythology. Yes, he flew too close to the sun. His wings melted, and he fell into the sea and died. How did that become the story? He flew. Somehow, I live in a world that's reduced this to a parable about moderation, the middle path. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. I flew. I couldn't manage my fear anymore. That's the truth of why I quit racing. You know that feeling of impending doom? You know what that is? That's impending doom. The safety truck just pulled up beside me. I'm getting to know those guys really well. I unlock the six-point safety harness, climb out of the car, walk back to the pits, ignored the team owner and the ambulance crew, got out of my racing gear, into my car, and drove the 1,900 miles back to Kripalu, that ashram in the Berkshire Hills. There was stillness with the monks that felt safe. I could take my feelings out for a test drive there. After a few days, I was invited up to the Guru's house by one of the renunciates. Amrit Desai was his name. He bounces into the room, taking an interest in everyone. After a few minutes, he came over to me and said, Are you new? What did you do before you came here?" "I raced cars," I replied. He burst out laughing. But not a mocking laugh, a laugh that felt like compassion and sounded like understanding. And then he said, "I know your kind. You know how to fly." but you don't know how to land. Stick around a little while and I'll teach you how to land. I had planned to stay for 7 days at Propalo. I stayed in that ashram for a year and a half until I learned how to land. Thank you.